Hello everybody and welcome! My name is Offsummer, and today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about trains in the latest grade update. Do you want to learn how to make your own trains and track systems for your survival/creative world? Then look no farther, my friend, you are in the correct place. Speaking of which, I'll leave timestamps in the description, so if you're looking for something specific, you want to skip the rest, well, yeah, you can totally do that. Oh, and also, if this video helps you at all, please consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends, leaving a comment, giving it a like, you know the drill. Now, big disclaimer, for anyone who's playing all the mods 7, as we are, live on YouTube every other day, if you want to start messing with trains at all, you are going to need to disable or get rid of entity culling. It's a client-side mod which helps with performance, but unfortunately makes trains invisible. And that's kind of a nuisance and pain in the ass, so yeah, do that. And now, with that out of the way, let's start this off with train tracks. For the purposes of this video, I'm using a super flat world, but trust me, the Create team has made sure you can build these pretty much everywhere. Whether that's a diagonal, a curve, or a slope, yeah, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Now, in order to use these, make sure you're looking in the correct way, that being the way you want your track to go. Right-click on a block, and in order to extend this one, right-click on the same block again, and you'll see these green or red lines coming off it. Red means bad, green good to go. Got it? Cool. You can extend these however you want within a certain range, which is... wow, not too bad. Start messing with them and you'll quickly get used to its limitations, such as too sharp, too steep, can do these, can do that, and yeah, you get the gist. What's more, you can hold blocks in your offhand while placing the tracks, and they'll be placed right underneath, which sometimes looks amazing, and sometimes looks, well, bleh. Oh, and let's not forget, trains can actually go through the nether. In order for this to work, you need to create a portal, travel to the nether, obviously, just so it creates the space and, you know. And after that, just right-click right next to the portal and you'll see it'll have a different texture, like that one. Go through the portal and you should see, yeah, something like that. So we could actually connect these to whatever we want and it should simply work. Hello, Mr. Piglin. Okay. Now, what are the bare minimum materials I'm going to need for a train, you might ask?
It's been already 3 minutes, and the only trains I see are just running in the background.
Okay, fair enough. Behold, in this barrel, we should have pretty much everything we need to make a train. Starting with our track, obviously. Now hold your train station, look at any of the tracks, and you'll see an arrow pointing in a specific direction. This is going to be important. Right-click on the track, place the station somewhere nearby. Having just a single station, I know it feels kind of irrelevant, but trust me, getting used to name every single one of your train stations will be super useful in the long run. So in this case, we're going to name these Hi YouTube. We're going to click here, and yeah, that should be fine. We have a train station called Hi YouTube. Now let's create a new train, and let's remember this arrow is pointing into that direction. Again, that's relevant. Right-click on the train station, click on Create New Train, and now you'll see that on this track a blue mark appears. With a train casing on your hand, right-click on that track and it will create a bogie for you. Which, by the way, now that it has changed and you see it's now green, you can right-click on the track and it will change the looks of it, which is a very nice touch. Now, since these are the bare minimum, I'm going to place a block here. This can be any block, a seat, and the controls. And that should be your train. Yep. Now make sure you super glue everything. Right click on one end and then right click on another one. And it will now create a 2D, 3D space where everything within is super glued. Which is a nice change for Create 0.5. Now when moving, these will count as a single block or an entity, and that's actually what we want. We can right click in here, assemble train. And same as we did with the train station, we are going to name our train. Subscribe, of course. Now our compilation of blocks is now counted as an entity. We can no longer affect these, but we can interact with most of it. We can sit on our seat, we can use our controls, and we can press WSAD in order to move. Departing from Hi YouTube, let's go back a little bit. Now, getting used to these controls, it's a matter of time, really. But after you're done with this tutorial, you will probably not even be driving these trains yourself. So yeah, that's a thing. Whenever you're nearby a train station, you can hold space and it will automatically stop at the train station, which, same as everything else, will be relevant later on. On a second thought, I think now is the time. Let's say you've already assembled your train. I wanted to travel in a loop like this one in here. You can easily do that with either a blaze burner, like so, or a seat at a mob. By the way, mobs that can be put on a lead, like a ship, can easily be seated just by right-clicking on the seat, just like that. Nice! And the rest of the mobs, well, you might need to push them in, which is fine, you can do that. Now you're almost done. Get a new train schedule and open it up, add action, and remember when I mentioned earlier you should always name your train station? Here's one of the most important reasons why you should have done that. You are going to select the one that you're starting on, click here, add another action, and add the second one. As you can see now, let me erase this one here. Our options are much more limited than they were at the beginning, and that's because the schedule it's going to be smart enough to just select the trains within that track, which is very nice. And in here, schedule starts over when completed. It's our loop forever function. If you don't want it to loop, click on that and it should just go from the first station to the second one and stop there. Again, you want it to loop, so let's click that. And now, if we assemble this train in here, assemble train, nice. We can give this schedule to the mod. After a few seconds, it will start traveling again. Now, what happens if the mob didn't know how to continue from one station to the other? Well, you're gonna get a message and it's gonna say, no suitable path for the next scheduled destination could be found. If this is not connected and there is no way for it to go back to the station, it will just stay in there and hang on until you fix whatever the problem is. Let's connect this back. And navigation succeeded. Nice. Now let's disassemble these once again. And let's add more functionality to this little thing. Same as with every other create contraption, whenever you put, let's say, some kind of storage in the shape of a barrel, a chest, or the new addition, an item vault, let's put this one in here. So long as we superglue the whole thing to the rest of the machine or contraption. In this case, I still need to do something like that, nice. Whenever these forms, and actually we're gonna do just right now, even though we cannot interact with these, this train now has some kind of storage, which is kind of nice. Now, since I want to keep this sweet and short, I'm just going to show you this functionality with the portable storage interface. But, same as we're doing with items, you can easily do with fluids and a fluid interface. We are going to place this interface, we're going to say right over here. Why not? And this is actually very important. Since the train is disassembled, we know that this is always going to be here. We can set up another portable interface, like so. As long as this is in between 1 and 2 blocks of distance, these should interact with each other. Again, let's superglue this to the rest of the structure. There you go. And let's try and get items out of these. Now for this example, I just set a mechanical belt. In this way, it's rotating into the portable interface, meaning it will try to input items into our contraption. Now, something worth mentioning is the item vault cannot be accessed manually, only through interfaces. So yeah, that's the thing. All right, let's just fill these with some kind of items. In this case, I'm using item vaults because it doesn't really matter. And let's assemble you. What we are going to see happening is these item vaults or these portable interfaces are transferring the items through this barrel to our contraption. How long is that going to stay on? Well, that depends on your schedule. In here, we can set up different conditions. In this case, we have it waiting 5 seconds. If you click on here, it will open up a new interface. Now, using your mouse wheel, you can control what the condition is. Time of the day, item cargo, if there is any players, how many players are seated, and so on and so forth. If you're getting items in or out the contraption, have it waiting a bit longer. Let's say 15 seconds. Just as an example. Okay. Then we're gonna save that. We're gonna right click on the mob and look what happens now. Off it goes. It's gonna wait 5 seconds on that stop, just as we told it to. And once it comes back, it's going to spend 15 seconds in here, no matter what the actions are. So let's say, for example, we actually want items from our cargo. Let's invert these and there you go. We are getting items from the train. So if you want to move items from place to place using trains, you can totally do that. And it's super simple. Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room. No, not this one. I'm talking about collisions and not having to worry about them. What happens when 2 or more trains collide? Let me show you. Down here, I set up a few trains to go in different loops while still sharing some of the same tracks. How is this all working? Well, it's all thanks to this block right here, the train signal. And some Nixie tubes, just to make our lives easier. You can connect these to any side of the train signal, and it will basically do the same as it's doing normally, but you know, this is a lot easier to see. As you can see, when trains are about to get into an intersection, the train signals will allow the train to continue or stop depending on the incoming traffic. What would happen if we didn't have any of these blocks around our tracks? Well, it's not pretty, I'll tell you that much. Let's stop the trains for a second and let's get rid of all of these, just so you can see that. So again, the only difference should be we now have train signals and now we don't. Let's right click on everybody again and let them resume their trips, like so. Uh-oh, intersection, ooh. Let's see. Oh no, look, there's been a collision. How do we fix these? The train has actually derailed. Go somewhere near your train, right click on it with your wrench, and then you'll see this green bar appearing on the track. That means you can right click again and make it move to that location. Nice. That has its limitations. If I right click on the train, I cannot take the train, say for example, here. But I could move it over here. Now, for some reason, even though we moved it and everything should be fine, these are no longer working. No suitable path for the next scheduled destination. So, yeah, how are we going to fix these? Well, that, my friends, again, that's going to be train signals. Train signals, although may seem a bit confusing, are actually very simple. As a good rule of thumb, you should have a train signal before and after every intersection, in a more clear way. I'm going to right click here, same as the train station, place it somewhere nearby. That's the beginning of the intersection, and then I'm going to do the same over here. And same as we've done that, we're going to do over here. And as you can see now, our lanes have been split. Now continue your track and do exactly the same again at the beginning of every intersection and at the end. You'll notice, by the way, these are also directional. Unlike train stations, we can place these one more time and you'll see how the arrow changes. And if we place that block again, now you'll see that trains are allowed in either direction, which is cool if trains are navigating both ways. Now, in an intersection like this, nothing really changes. You're still going to follow the same thought process. You'll have one at the beginning. In this case, I'm going to use that one. One at the end. And we'll look at that. After placing everything back, it starts working again. Beautiful. Now, one last thing regarding our train signals. If you were to right click with your wrench on one of them, you'll see its texture is going to change and it's going to allow passage if section is fully traversable. meaning that no train will stay here in the middle, just waiting. They will only be able to go through if they can actually just go through. Does that make any sense? If we were to have this train, let's say over here, what we should see now is that trains should stop right before this intersection. Huh. Unlike that one, we didn't right click on this one and look what happens. Future trains will wait in here while the first one can still travel through, leading to a problem like this one. And you can easily fix that just by right clicking on the train signal. Would you look at that? And now, just to finish it off, as you can see, I'm using iron sheet metals from immersive engineering, meaning some modded blocks can be used in order to make your train. Doors and trapdoors will automatically open whenever the train leaves the station, which is also a very nice touch. But that's pretty much it, really. Have a look at these frame slopes from frame blocks. They look like they have texture, but once we assemble this thing, choo-choo is now assembled, they look nothing like they were supposed to. So yeah, this is a matter of just placing, assembling and checking what's working and what's not. But with that, I'm going to enter my choo-choo. I'm going to sit down here. I'm going to use this last schedule, like so. A little bit of F5 action. And same as I said at the beginning, if you found these videos somewhat useful, please do give it a like and consider subscribing. I make a lot of Minecraft related content and I'm actually streaming all the mod 7 right now on YouTube Gaming. We're building a train that's going to travel through all bases in our server. And yeah, I'm also using a lot of them to move things around. So if that's something you want to look at, if that's something fancy, go check that out. But for now, this was my first ever tutorial. I really hope you learned something new. And I guess I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!